The boss of the epic adventure drive wanted his car to be as wild as the event itself. Not looking for a boring ride, he wanted something loud, flashy, and fast. That's where FMU comes in. We'll take his mundane GT car and turn it into a beast that matches his reputation of the ultimate road rally. So McLarens are known for their performance, but their sound can be a little tricky to coax out the best, most exotic version. Now, this would be our 6th build we've done with Omar, and us doing exhausts for him is kind of why he keeps coming back. Now, this thing, when you open it up, doesn't really have an exotic tone, and we've got a few ideas to make this thing sound more exotic in order to match Omar's unique tastes. So when dealing with a system like this McLaren, we can already see that improving this thing for performance is going to be a tall order, as this more or less is pretty straight flowing already. So let me go over this exhaust in this McLaren to kind of show you where we're going to be able to make improvements when it comes to changing the sound. So the design of this exhaust basically is more or less pretty straight flowing. As you can see, we have a valve in the way, and when the valve is shut, it diverts the exhaust gas to this chambered muffler. Now, the way I could tell it's chambered is that these welds here indicate that there's more than likely a baffle in there that allows the sound to go inside there and bounce around. The problem with that, though, is that any time you have sound entering a chamber, you kind of pick up some raspiness. Yes, there is noise cancellation, tone cancellation that a properly designed chamber can allow for, but when you free up some of the restrictions in the exhaust, that frequency is only for a specific RPM. These chambers are usually designed to cancel most of the noise at cruising RPM, so anything past 3,000 is really not going to be that beneficial. These systems actually, when you start modifying other areas in the exhaust, start creating unpleasant tones, and that's why so many people change them out. When you have the stock catalytic converters on there, and when you have the stock system on there, they sound pretty decent, but there's always room for improvement. So when we design our systems, usually the biggest improvement we can find is blending the two banks together. That in turn gets rid of a 4-cylinder engine and essentially a 4-cylinder engine flowing out the same way. Yes, there's balance, yes, there's H-pipes, but as you look, these are all done in a 90-degree manner. And if anybody knows plumbing or any sort of flow dynamics, that's usually the worst angle to try to get a clean pressure transition for, a clean entry or exit. You want to blend the banks in as smoothly as possible, and 90-degree angles are never great for that. They'll usually end up producing a harsher, raspy tone. Although you can get some balancing like you do see in H-pipes, you can see a performance benefit, but the sounds of an H versus an X-pipe, a properly designed X-pipe, it's never going to be the same. So we don't use any 90-degree angles. We're always using what we call our smooth merge X, and that helps bring out the exotic tones, blending the two banks together, while at the same time allowing any scavenging that possibly could be done from having the two banks exhaust airflow run past each other. Omar was on a mission to find the perfect car that would scream, "This is mine," from every angle. We knew Omar's style from previous adventures with him, and we were ready to exceed his expectations once again. Unfortunately, there weren't many options out there for customizing a McLaren GT to fit Omar's unique tastes. But hey, we're not ones to give up easily, so we got creative and we came up with a plan. So we went ahead and laid out what we think is a pre-production carbon aerodynamic kit. We're able to find this kit that is going to improve the styling of the vehicle. However, we're not sure about fitment and quality quite yet. A lot of the stuff looks pretty nice, but until we go ahead and try to fit it up, we're not too sure. Some of the stuff is easy enough. There are a few retainer bolts, but it looks like a lot of it is going to overlay either with the bolts or the use of an adhesive trim. Some of the components, like these side pieces, are going to replace existing components with a few more aerodynamic details and the look of carbon fiber. You can never get enough carbon fiber, right? We got some wings that should give us some more downforce and whatnot. Some vents, some louvers. And then we have this massive diffuser back here that is going to replace the factory component, except in carbon fiber. So let's get these pieces off, let's start disassembly, and let's figure out how this thing's gonna fit up. As with any exotic or high performance vehicle, there's a lot of panels that act as protection, aerodynamic, shielding to kind of keep stuff from bouncing up into the car, which means it's gonna be a lot of little bolts that have to come off in order for us to get all these pieces ready to be installed. And McLaren being McLaren, it's never the same size hardware. So we got a 10 millimeter here, we got a Torx bolt here, we've got an 8 mil here. It's just a matter of keeping all your stuff together and knowing where you took it off and knowing where it goes back into place. Now, looking at some of the ways that are suggested to keep this kit on has me kind of questioning their thought process. Double-sided tape isn't gonna cut it for a lot of these. So we're looking at some of the more key points and trying to see if we can come up with some solutions. One of those is gonna be using riv nuts to secure some of these pieces. As you know, it's aerodynamics. And even though it's suggested to hold it on with double-sided tape, some of these speeds that the car can be reaching puts a lot of force on these aerodynamic components, and we don't just want to leave it to double-sided tape. So I've got Billy back here cooking up some ways. Here we are mounting some of the patterns that we're going to use to try to see where the pieces go. Let's see what he's kind of cooking up back there. So as I was saying, some of this just doesn't look like it's going to be able to handle 200 miles an hour. Whether that's the intention with the car or not, we have to always build it a step above what we think it can. So Billy was looking at these pieces, trying to figure out some ingenious but relatively quick ways to kind of figure this out. And we're going to be using riv nuts. He kind of mapped out the points here. What are we working with, Billy?
Basically, we have a gapped piece of carbon here, air gap in this piece of carbon. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 riv nuts in the back side of this because we have no way to get bolts on the back side. So with riv nuts in there, we can come through the back side of the outer wing here, bolt it in that way, and then we can put this all up in one big piece.
And you'll see.
I'm also going to put a rivet in right here to hold this together. So we'll have to drill that out if we ever have to take it apart. It'll be bolted, but it'll also hold top to bottom too.
So it'll come off as one piece as opposed to 3 pieces, but that being said, it's going to be a lot more secure.
The rear diffuser not having a provision for the rear brake light meant that we were going to have a challenge figuring out a way to mount it. Luckily, designing and building a mounting system for this light that looks like the factory would have equipped it this way is something we're actually pretty good at.
Now, you never know what will pull into Fluid Motor Union, but you also never know who will pull into Fluid Motor Union. Got a visitor here. Hey, Alex.
Hey, what's up? Just aquaplastic. Nice, rusty, nasty DeLorean parts. They're gonna look brand new. Oh, hang on, check out some brand new ones. Look at these headlight buckets. They are basically brand new now.
They're looking pretty good. Better than I thought, so.
Yeah.
Ultimate Road Rally. All right, let's see how this guy fits.
With Billy finalizing the diffuser mounts, we're going to take care of the finishing touches, including installing these Anarchy wheels and taking care of a brake squeak, which is bothering Omar. A lot of times chamfering the pads can get rid of a squeak, but these pads look like they've been abused, so only a drive will tell how well it's going to work. With the reverse stoplight mounted to the diffuser, we're able to mount the side pieces at this point, which Took a little bit of ingenuity, but we were able to get them on there. And while the fit of the body kit was mostly pretty good, that doesn't mean perfect. So it took a little bit of finesse to get it located and situated in place, but that being said, it's looking pretty good. This GT is McLaren's attempt at creating a supercar capable of keeping its passengers comfortable and engaged during continental crossing road trips. Dare I say they hit the nail on the head? This thing is super light, tons of luggage space, and is by far the most comfortable McLaren I've ever been in. Which of course just wouldn't be enough for the figurehead of the ultimate road rally. That's why we think the addition of this carbon fiber aerodynamics package was so important to get the look and aggression that not only matches this car's performance, but also the owner's personality. I mean, just look at this thing. Carbon fiber everywhere, plenty of downforce, these wheels, everything just screams, this is the ultimate road rally vehicle.
As always, guys, we're a small shop. We're independent, and in order for us to get content out like this, we need your help. So every like, comment, and subscription helps us donate more resources to showing you some of the cool stuff we've got here.